I still have fond memories of SpongeBob SquarePants when it first premiered on Nickelodeon. It was a cartoon that I enjoyed with my dad, and I was just starting high school at the time. But maybe that's why I never bothered with Battle for Bikini Bottom. Licensed games were still hit or miss at the time, and I figured SpongeBob would be a miss. And yet, all these years later, it's considered a platforming classic. So with the release of a remastered version in the form of Rehydrated, I was excited to see what it was that made it so beloved. Could this remake even maintain the same magic of the original? For those unaware, the story of Battle for Bikini Bottom focuses on Plankton's latest scheme to steal the Krabby Patty formula, a duplicator that can clone endless hordes of robots. Unfortunately, he forgot to set them to obey, and they've now run amok all across Bikini Bottom. However, the night before, SpongeBob and Patrick wished for robots to play with and believe that this is all their fault. So they set out across 9 levels to defeat the robots while collecting golden spatulas that are required to unlock the way forward. This isn't a deep plot, even compared to a normal SpongeBob episode, but it does serve as a way for familiar characters and locations to pop up along with the series' staple humor, and it still holds up. While none of the jokes made me laugh out loud, quite a few did make me chuckle. It really does capture the spirit of the show. But this is a 3D platformer through and through, and all the tropes you'd expect are here and accounted for. SpongeBob has a double jump, a spin attack with his bubble blower, a downward stomp, and an upward thrust. He's also able to sneak and eventually unlock special abilities that use his bubble blowing skills. However, at certain points, it's possible to change characters to either Patrick or Sandy, who each have their unique set of skills. Patrick's able to throw objects and stun enemies, while Sandy can use her lasso to cross gaps. SpongeBob's more versatile, but the other two are a great way to change up the gameplay for a little while, whether it's with Patrick's puzzle focus or Sandy's advanced platforming. These are ideas that work, and switching between them helps create more thoughtful puzzles in the later levels. But here's the thing, Rehydrated doesn't make it fun, and it began as soon as I learned what the jump button was on the Nintendo Switch. A. Meanwhile, attacking is handled with Y, which is one of the stupidest layouts I've ever encountered in a game. It's only this way on the Switch. We checked the PS4 version where it was X to jump and square to attack, which is normal. But for some reason this was changed on Switch, with B serving as the aerial stomp and X as the upwards attack. It threw me off so many times, and there's no option to switch it within the game. The only thing I could do is change the buttons at the system level on the Switch, which shouldn't be even necessary. And unfortunately, it just gets worse from there. The controls feel so loose and imprecise at times, making some of the more harrowing jumps much worse. There are a lot of small platforms, and it became a nightmare once I reached the level SpongeBob's Dream. I could barely get started as it was so easy to slip off into the abyss. And this was even worse when it came to the sliding sections. These diversions should be a lot of fun. It's a great callback to the show and changes up the platforming in short bursts. But as time went on, the tracks got thinner and the loose controls made it so easy to slip off. There might not be any lives, but death sucks, as there's always another 5-second loading screen afterward, and it's so easy to die. I stuck with it, got past each platforming challenge, but it wore me down. I hate that I feel this way, as there are a lot of good ideas on display, especially early on. Each level has several challenges to complete in order to earn golden spatulas. These are used to unlock new levels, making for a classic collect-a-thon platformer. In addition to the spatulas, there are lost Patrick socks to find and shiny things to collect. The socks are exchanged for more spatulas, while the shiny things are spent to open up new places in a level or exchange them to Mr. Krabs for more spatulas. It creates a focused experience as everything leads to the same reward. I really did enjoy the first third of the game, but once I reached the more advanced challenges, the cracks began to show. The level design is infuriating at points and feels like it's actively fighting against me. Seesaw platforms hobbled my jumps, bounce pads sometimes failed to work, there's massive knockback from any hit, making falling into a pit all the easier, and the game just doesn't feel enjoyable to control. The one highlight I consistently had throughout Rehydrated were the boss battles. They're not especially difficult, but they used the abilities I had up until that point. It made me think at points, and the final boss encapsulated that well. And again, that's what kills me. I can see the good points peeking through. but it's not enough, especially when looking at the game in a technical sense. While the style of Rehydrated is bright, colorful, and mostly captures the spirit of the show, it also doesn't run very well. It's apparent from the first moment in Jellyfish Fields where, during a pan-over, the game is just barely making the grass appear in time. Draw distance is also an issue in some of the bigger levels, and there's a strange fog to Sandy Mountain that makes the sliding even more difficult. There's also frame stuttering at times, which makes the game as a whole feel low quality, not helped by the fact that certain areas seem to glitch on occasion. Sometimes platforms don't move when they should, or don't spawn at all, as I feel happened to me in Squidward's Dream. At least most of the actors return for their roles, though it's still the same audio from the original game. That means Mr. Krabs doesn't sound right at all, and it's not a good replacement.
They've booted me out! And worse, they've got hold of me beautiful shiny objects!
The audio quality hasn't been cleaned up either, making it feel like a straight rip, so be prepared for the same action lines over and over again throughout your playtime. They will get old. And sometimes the sound effects are slightly off from when they should have happened. The music is fine and feels like it fits with SpongeBob, but I also can't remember a single tune. It's just kinda there and makes the entire game feel utterly lifeless. The only new content in Rehydrated is a multiplayer mode. Here, you and a friend team up against a series of robots spawned by a Robo-Squidward. It is completely brain-dead, as combat is more of a means to an end rather than anything engaging. Really, the best part of it are the new characters, including Gary, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Robo-Plankton. It works as a curiosity, but I don't see many people being engaged for that long, unless young siblings want to play together, but I couldn't even stand playing for more than 10 minutes. I wanted to like this. I love platformers, I love SpongeBob, and after all the stories of how good the original was, I was legitimately excited to see what I missed. But so little of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated lands for me. It doesn't look good, it doesn't play well in the more intensive levels, and I just found myself more frustrated than anything else. I can feel the good in this game when it fires on all cylinders, but that's a sad rarity. I ended up disliking the game. I have no idea how it compares to the original, but maybe it'd be better to play that version again. I don't think Rehydrated is worth your time. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for more on platformers and other things gaming.